This song is problematic. Yes, it sounds cute, I'll give you that, but it's so problematic. Just grab a chair and we'll have a chat. It's bad, not good, but shouldn't it should teach kids the right way to behave. This song is problematic. It isn't right. Not right, not right. I can't believe I actually did that. But it was fun. And warranted, I think. Hello everyone, my name's Aloubell, and I recently watched Disney's Descendants: The Rise of Red, which is the fourth movie in the Descendants franchise. I reviewed the movie not too long ago, so please go check that out when you get the chance. Within the review, I discussed the songs in the movie, one of which is called Get Your Hands Dirty, which is sung by Morgan Dudley, who plays a teenage Cinderella, and Malia Baker, who plays her daughter Chloe, who traveled back into the past. I said before that this was one of the songs that I liked, and that's still technically true. It's a very catchy and cute song that I enjoyed listening to. The melody and instrumentals also sound suspiciously similar to Miley Cyrus's Party in the USA, and I find that so amusing. Really, I didn't even notice that until I listened to the instrumental version of this song. It's exactly almost Party in the USA. It's really funny. But the more I think about this song, Get Your Hands Dirty, I mean, not Party in the USA, the more problematic it becomes and the more it rubs me the wrong way, to the point that I don't fully want to listen to it as much anymore, if at all. In fact, the problematic lesson within it might pull the movie in general down on my rankings of Descendants movies. Let's just jump into it and read the lyrics, shall we? But first, some context. Chloe is a goody two-shoes princess who believes there is only good and evil and nothing in between. She's been sent back in time and gave herself the mission of saving the life of someone close to her in her present by changing the past. But in order to save this person, she's determining if it's okay to break some rules. She goes to ask Cinderella, or Ella, for some advice. Ella is the one in the song trying to convince Chloe that sometimes you have to get your hands dirty for the greater good, which, let me preface this by saying, isn't necessarily incorrect, but there is nuance to it that I don't think is properly respected here. Alright, so here are the lyrics. Ella comes in saying, right and wrong, cruel and kind, who's to say? Right off the bat, I have a problem. While there are many rules and such in this world that too many of us don't agree on, and certainly quite a few I believe to be right as a Christian that many will disagree with me on, we can all at least agree on a few things. Number 1, killing innocent people is always wrong. Number 2, assault of any kind, again, to innocent people is not okay. Number 3, stealing from innocent people, not okay. And 4, cheating on your significant other is not okay. Whether or not you believe in God who made the rules and thus decides what's okay or not, the point here is that there are things that are objectively right and objectively wrong. There is objectively cruel, and there is objectively kind. Not starting off strong, Disney. Anyway, we continue with the song. Chloe then says, there's a code that I believe in. But then Ella says, every choice you're gonna find there's shades of gray. Not true, Ella. Yes, there are choices that are morally gray, but not all of them are. Again, we do have some absolutes. Granted, there are probably more gray situations than pure black or white, but the black and white ones do exist. And then Chloe says, there are rules for a reason. And then they have this conversation about Robin Hood. Robin Hood? Yeah. Awesome guy? Yeah. You'd agree? And then Chloe says, but he stole for the poor. And then Ella says, so you could then cross that line theoretically. And then Chloe says, I don't know you anymore. Okay, so regarding Robin Hood, this actually isn't a terrible example of doing something morally questionable for the sake of good. On paper, yes, stealing is wrong, but since the poorer citizens were being oppressed, abused, and unfairly taxed, all under the rule of a prince who was trying to overthrow the throne of his brother the king, It's kind of justified here because the money wasn't the sheriff or prince's to begin with. However, if you don't know this story, then just simply knowing that Robin Hood stole from the rich to give to the poor is a terrible lesson, because it means that if you're in a bad enough situation, it's okay to steal from those who are better off than you, whether they are innocent or not. And that is not a good lesson. Context matters for Robin Hood, and this song, and the lesson in general, is not respecting that. Anyway, Ella then says, "The decision's always up to you when there's only one thing left to do. Gotta get your hands dirty. Just jump headfirst into the mess. Gotta get your hands dirty. Give it your worst. Give it your best. Bad and good, should and should, isn't always black and white. Gotta get your hands dirty to get it right. All right, all right." So you have the power to make the choice for yourself, but I'm telling you that you should do the morally questionable thing. That's what I read. I don't know about you. Chloe then tries to reason with Ella. Okay, but there's some universal truths you must recognize, like valiant knights, pure and good, guaranteed. And then Ella says, that depends on what they're fighting for. And you know what? Yeah, that's true. That's fair. That is 100% fair. And then Chloe says, creepy witches selling potions for evil deeds. And then Ella comes in with this fantastic line of, she could have kids she's providing for. Ella, dear, just because she has kids she's providing for doesn't give her a good excuse to do evil deeds. That's never justified. I understand the desperation, and I understand that this doesn't make the witch inherently evil, which I'm pretty sure that's what you're getting at, but you're not making it clear enough how not okay certain actions are for the sake of good, which is a problem. And then Chloe says, if you're good, good things will come to you. And then Ella says, that broken vase shows that's not true. Okay, so earlier in the movie, Chloe accidentally broke Lady Tremaine's vase, and Ella got in trouble for it despite not doing anything wrong. To which Chloe says, that's not fair. And then Ella replies, but that's how it's going. You're a nice girl, but your princess is showing. All right, I agree with Ella on this one. Just because you are a good person, it doesn't mean that life will be nice to you all the time. In fact, many good people suffer so much. While it may seem like the quote-unquote bad people get no consequences for their actions. In the moment, it seems really unfair, but why or why not things happen like that is complex. Little side note though, before the vase breaking incident, Chloe told Ella that her mom bought her fancy shoes because she was a good person. And then Ella responds with something along the lines of, are you really a good person if you're rewarded for it? And I could tell that the movie was trying to be all deep here and really make you think about things, but yes, Ella, you can still be a good person even if you get rewarded for it. As long as the motivation to do good isn't solely reliant on you getting rewarded or praised, then it's fine. Like, if you like the idea of getting rewarded but still do a good thing because you intrinsically know it's the right thing to do regardless of whether or not you receive the reward, then it's fine. I really hope at some point the writers or Disney in general points out that it's okay to get rewards for being good, because I can see a lot of people being bummed out thinking they're bad people because they accept rewards for being good. Sometimes people reward others' acts because they are grateful for what the other person did. So what, is a person not allowed to show gratitude either? We can't recognize and reward a medal to the fireman who risked his life to save others? We can't give a kid a new video game because he cleaned up the kitchen without being asked? Again, this movie is trying to present a concept that is outside of its scope to fully dive into in the way that it needs. Way to go, Disney, you botched another lesson. But anyway, back to the song. Chloe then says, life's a complicated game, it seems. Sometimes you can't afford to play it clean. Another nuanced idea that's technically true, but again, the complexity is not explained well enough. I appreciate that she at least said sometimes, but there still needs to be an acknowledgement of when it's theoretically okay or partially justified to cross a line. And then they sing the chorus again. Gotta get your hands dirty. I don't know, just jump headfirst into the mess. Gotta get your hands dirty, maybe so. Give it your worst, give it your best. Bad and good, shouldn't and should, isn't always black and white. Gotta get your hands dirty to get it right. Right, all right, all right. I just noticed the line of isn't always black and white, which implies that there are times when the situation is, in fact, black and white, which contradicts what Ella said earlier about every situation being a shade of gray. This song needs to pick a lane, and honestly, this bit should have been emphasized more because of how true it is. Situations aren't always black and white. There are times when they are gray, but the black and white ones do still exist. Chloe then asks, but just how far do you go? How much do you compromise? Oh, tell me, how do you know? Where do you draw the line? Ella responds, there's nothing I wouldn't do if my heart tells me it's right, if it's for someone I love, if it's to save a life, to save your life. There's nothing I wouldn't do if my heart tells me it's right. Ooh, this is such dangerous thinking. I don't know who needs to hear this, but your heart isn't always right, folks. Sometimes being logical is better than being emotional, because if we always acted on our emotions, our society would be even worse off than it is. Just because you feel something is right doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Sometimes people following their hearts leads to people getting hurt, and that's not okay. Even if it's for the sake of love, even if it's to save a life, there are still lines you can't and shouldn't cross. Again, I understand the thought, and I understand the desperation and how complex such situations can be, but not enough of what needs to be said is being said here. And then it's just the chorus again. Gotta get your hands dirty, just jump headfirst into the mess. Gotta get your hands dirty, give it your worst, give it your best. Bad and good, shouldn't and should, isn't always black and white. Gotta get your hands dirty to get it right. Gotta get your hands dirty to get it right. All right, all right. And then the song ends. The little dance the two of them do is cute and the melody is boppy, but these lyrics are so problematic. Oh my goodness! Am I thinking too hard about this whole song? Probably, but I just felt the need to get all of this off my chest. Anyway, I don't think I need to re-emphasize why this song is problematic since we just went through the whole thing, but at the end of the day, Disney tried to teach this complex message, but it was an incomplete message, and thus it comes off as most of the time it's okay to do something bad if it's for good. Disney has been making a lot of questionable decisions lately, but I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that that lesson wasn't their intention. They know that there is legit good and bad, and they know that certain contexts call for one to, quote-unquote, get your hands dirty. But I think this moral was too hard for them to properly convey in a simplified way that isn't harmful. So I mostly chalk this up to incompetence rather than malicious intent. At the end of the day, this is a movie meant for children and teens, so they wanted to make things not so complicated so everyone understands. But unfortunately, they chose a concept that requires a larger explanation, or else the impressionable audience will get the wrong idea. And the stupid thing is that in the context of Chloe's dilemma, this morally gray stuff isn't even applicable. Not really. She's deciding on whether or not she should steal something in order to save her important person in the future. Red, who is the other protagonist, says, "We need to steal it." But Chloe says, "No, we should go tell the principal. He'll help us." And then Red gives a very lame excuse as to why they can't go to the principal. Her excuse isn't good enough to justify not going to the principal. The principal, Merlin, is a nice guy who is knowledgeable in magic, who can probably help the girls get their mission accomplished. Plus, the thing that they want belongs to him, so, you know. In this situation, Chloe is right. They should have gone to Merlin and told him what was up. Going with Red's plan and stealing the MacGuffin only put their lives and the mission in danger. When faced with this hard-to-make decision, Chloe goes to talk to Ella, who tells her that sometimes you need to do something questionable for the sake of good. Chloe then goes back to Red and then says, and I'm paraphrasing here, "I'm ready to get my hands dirty to save my important person." But like, this isn't a situation where you need to. If Merlin was an awful person who punishes people for no reason or who never believes anything any of his students tell him, then okay, maybe telling him would put their mission at risk. In which case, sure, Chloe can have her little dilemma and then choose to steal the item since it's the only way to save the person she cares about. Desperate times call for desperate measures, as the saying goes. It's still wrong because it's stealing. Just because someone is a jerk doesn't mean it's okay to steal from them, but it needs to be done to save this person. But as it stands, the story did not, in fact, play out like this, and stealing the item was dumb. If they really wanted to push the envelope, they could have done what I said in my initial review and have Chloe be so desperate that she does something that is so objectively wrong that maybe even involves hurting other people in order to save her person. In either of these hypothetical scenarios, you can still learn the lesson that some situations are nuanced. Sometimes you do something questionable for the sake of good, and you can either have something be alright in the end, while still acknowledging that the action was wrong, and/or there could be consequences for doing that wrong thing. And sometimes you do something questionable for the sake of good that absolutely shouldn't have been done because you left a path of destruction in your wake. I'll say it again. This lesson was too mature for Disney to tackle in such a movie, and they missed the mark. Between this movie and Wish, Disney is not so hot nowadays when it comes to important lessons to teach audiences of all ages. And I get it. Writing for a movie can be hard, and I'm not claiming to be some master writer or even a master at delivering lessons, but there is a level of responsibility that one takes up when they create a product made for impressionable audiences, and I just want a tad more thought put into these products. That's all I ask. And you know what? Yeah, I'll change my rankings of the Descendants movies because the more I think about The Rise of Red, the more frustrated I become. Not just because of this song, but the movie as a whole. Just dropped the ball in too many ways. Descendants 2 will always be the best. Many quality rankings behind that are Descendants 3 and Descendants 1 fighting for second place. They both have their issues with me. And Descendants 4 being dead last. It doesn't mean that I hate it or anything. Like I said before, I had fun watching Rise of Red. The movie just has too much working against it. An incomplete story and a problematic song being two of them. But that's just my opinion. What's yours? Watch me change my mind again later, but that's the nice thing about opinions, they can change. Anyway, what do you think of the song Get Your Hands Dirty? And what do you think of the message? Comment below and let's get this conversation started. Oh, and don't forget to add the bar of soap emoji in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, just remember that I'm the artistic Aloubell. I review things, I rant sometimes, and rewrite stories occasionally. I'd appreciate it if you subscribed and joined the family of bells, where we chill in the bell tower, adhere to the golden rule, and use cookies as our currency. If any part of the video spoke to you, feel free to leave a comment and a cookie. But as for now, that's all there is. There isn't any more.